And, of course, we were kind of like renting a space, right?
Yeah.
We were renting a space. You guys were the first tenants, and then I moved in. It's kind of like Three's Company.
Mm-hmm.
For a while you had one blonde, and then she moved out, another one moved in. I don't know where I'm going with that. That's a bad example. Because the term front court I'm going to stop.
It's fine.
I'm going to stop.
We get it.
You get it. So the regular cast moved on to the spacious new digs, right? So this new old studio became available. Mm-hmm. And none of us hate leftovers. So I'm thinking, hell yeah. Instead of renting from somebody, let's plant our flag now, and this becomes the Tailgate Talk studio.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I do. I like that.
I mean, the guys had, in this studio we're in this morning, they had, the Palermo stuff, and they had the Iron Jock stuff, and they had the Brewer contracting stuff up. So I think we should get some Paul Wagner memorabilia. Wags, can you help us with that?
Hey, I will do my best on that part. I just want to make sure that light on air, off air is always on, because I want to be able to click that when people walk by the window. I want to click on air so they don't bother us.
So wait, I just want to clarify. You want an on air light, which is kind of rare, because I thought when you mentioned light, I'm thinking neon light. That's what I'm thinking, right?
No.
Open 24 hours. The champagne
massage.
Beers, something like that.
Yeah, the nice fancy massaging chairs.
So you know what will happen? If we go down that road with this guy, what's going to happen there, Eric? We're going to have to adapt the old baseball road policy. What happens on the road stays on the road. What happens in the studio stays in the studio.
Yeah, well, and more importantly, what happens during breaks stays in the studios.
Well, and here's the thing, too. Let's give Tasker a task, Wags. As I look to my left in the studio, I believe – no, it's not. They moved it out. There's not a fridge over there anymore, right?
No.
Okay, we can move that back in if and only if you stock that with Bunzel's products for us.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think we could work something out with that. The issue is...
the upside to that is, right? You stock that baby with Bunzel's, Wags is going to be back in the studio.
Yeah, well, but the downside of it is, as soon as somebody
we should do it 7 days a week.
Yeah, there you go.
As soon as somebody finds out, though, it might not be here the next time we do our show, because the secret will be out, and then people will be thinking...
It's our studio, man.
Yeah, we'll
stay out of our studio.
Put a lock on it. Yeah,
you know what? We'll get some camouflage drapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, put that up.
Yep. That's good. It does feel nice to be here, though. We, like you said, we've been kind of renting that space, and it's always, just make sure we're doing our show, and I don't know. It feels good to have our own place, though.
By the way, the new studios, wow. They're nice, aren't they?
Yeah. It smells new. It looks brand new.
Wags, you'll love this. The best line was from Drew Olson this week, right? He was off Monday, Tuesday. He was in Vegas, and he came back on Wednesday. He said on the air, it's like you lived in a apartment for, 10 years, and you finally found enough money to buy your house, and you don't buy a starter home. No, you go big. You go big right out of the gate. And so it's like when Wags landed that major league contract.
Yeah.
He got that big league money, and he went, boom, palatial estate. Right, Wags? Is that how it went?
That's exactly how it went. I don't know how much $133 gets you back then, but it didn't get you a palatial place.
You know what happened, Tasker? He went from a one-man turkey blind to a two-man turkey blind.
Yeah. He got the double wide.
All right, so let's focus on what this show is supposed to be about the outdoors. Did everyone remember to get their turkey permits in this week? You had to have them in by what, the 10th, Wags? Monday? Right?
Yeah, well, we had it, I think, was it Monday or Tuesday?
Tuesday, yeah.
So Tasker he'll tell you, he already did his. I think he had him and Dad and everybody got theirs in on time. And as we were driving, and he'll elaborate on this a little bit later, as we were driving out west to visit HHA sites, archery sites up in Wisconsin Rapids, he goes to me, hey, don't forget, today's the day. And I'm like, I actually registered for both turkey and bear preference point in the vehicle as Tasker was driving northwest.
The passenger seat.
Wait a minute. For a guy who can barely hook up to the show, Now you're driving down the road. Look at you, Mr. High Tech, on the phone. I love it.
He even had his conservation card with him, so he had all of his numbers and everything.
Whoa, look at you.
And he's even
Nice
said
job,
to me,
my friend. Nice
he said,
job.
I pay the $3.50 to get one of these cards every year, and I never have them with me. I just so happen to have mine. So I don't know if that was a pre-planned like plug for buying your conservation card or what it was, but it actually worked out. I mean, we had some time to drive, and we could talk about that now, or we could talk about it later. But it was a good reminder, because I looked at my watch, or I saw my phone, and I was like, "Oh shoot, it's December 10th," and I said something to him right away. He's like, "You know what? I didn't. do that. So I have time now that I can."
It was, well, yeah, because I had to fill my wallet with something besides green because I don't have any money. So I have my carry and conceal. I got my carry and conceal in there. I got my Go Wild card and my driver's license. Hell, they took all my credit cards away, so there's nothing in there anymore.
Oh, that's good.
So hopefully you took care of that this week.
Yeah.
Got that done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and then we did also talk about, it was funny, my wife and I were sitting there watching TV, and I just brought up, I joked with her and I said, "Oh, did you remember to apply for your bear points?" And then we just got to talking about how, Wags and I kind of have a plan for when I have enough points. And as Wags is registering for he's like, "I've got 14 bear points. I think I can hunt anywhere in the state whenever I want." And I said, "Well, maybe you could just give me a couple of those." And then he said he would have to adopt me. So I don't know if Wags is going to be my adopted father in order to inherit points, or if we're just going to have to wait a couple years. But it'll be an exciting time. I think it'll be probably 2026, I think, is when I'll finally have enough to be able to go and take advantage of that. So that'll be fun.
Wags, you should get, because you were the state record holder for a while, right? You should get like a gold card membership or something like that. A lifetime exemption from trying to collect points. They should just grandfather you in every season.
So hey, I'm with you on that one. But that's where the confusion came with Cabela's. Remember, it was never the state record. It was always like the third largest.
Okay.
But yes, no. And then Tasker calls me. Him and Sherry are sitting around or whatever, and he goes, "Hey, you got a picture of your bear?" And I go, "I can't find anything." So I actually went to the website. I went to Flater's website up in Holcomb, where I stayed and where I'm going to take Tasker in a couple years, where we're going to stay. And I actually pulled it up out of photos in the bar itself.
I was going to say, because you've shared that photo. I've seen it.
Yeah.
You shared it with us, what was it, last year? Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, well, it was crazy. It's crazy.
And I figured that I could just, send a text message and get a picture back, and then all of a sudden he's scrambling, scouring the internet to try and find pictures of this bear.
You were speaking off-air stuff, too. Listen, this show apparently is gaining listeners by leaps and bounds. Wags is being recognized now by his voice. So, Eric, if you drop his name,
right,
you might be able to secure.
Well, I have to be
more
smart.
points.
Wags always tells me I'm happy to do that, or I'm more than welcome to do that. I just have to be careful where I drop his name.
That's true. That's true. So let's put a bow on, and I know there's still a little bit out there, but with the and again, it was expected, but the drastic temperature change that took place this week, for me, that puts a bow on the deer season for me. I'm done at this point. How about you guys? And what are you hearing out there as we kind of look back? I know we ran numbers from the DNR. We're all kind of like skeptical a little bit on that.
Yeah, well, and as of Thursday through tomorrow, I believe it is the statewide antlerless hunt. So currently you can only take antlerless deer, no bucks whatsoever, any weapon, whatever you're choosing, as long as you have a valid tag for that firearm. It's interesting you say that it puts a bow on your season, but me and Wags are going to get after it this weekend and hopefully help. I'm going to hopefully help take care of some of the does out by him. So I'm actually eager to get back out there. The kickoff to this little antlerless season was, I don't even know if it got to 0 degrees anywhere in the metro Milwaukee area. But it'll be interesting just to see what happens with movement and some of that stuff in the days kind of following that. Now, hopefully after they were freezing on Thursday, they'll be up and active over the weekend here.
It was cold, Wags. I don't care what you want to say the temperature said, what the thermometer, as my father used to call it, the thermometer said. It was cold, man. And then I know
I like that.
Zabe does not believe in the wind chill. Yeah. Zabe does not believe in the wind chill either. I don't care. He's nuts. It's
He's foolish. He's foolish.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. It was cold. I mean, driving in Thursday when we kicked off the Make-A-Wish telethon, or radiothon, not telethon, that'd be TV. Radiothon. I think it had 1 above, and with the wind chill, it was probably 10 below. Again, they tell you we knew for days this was coming, right? But come on, fellas, when that thing hits for the first time. That's like, whoa, right?
Yeah. There's so when we were looking at Sherry and I were looking at the weather, just trying to kind of prep leading into the back half of the week. And my truck has a block heater on it, so I can plug my truck in overnight, and it just keeps the oil pan whatever warm. And so I was just thinking about that, like, I got to make sure that I do that. And I was looking at temperatures. I think the real feel overnight was like -25 with the wind chill. I'm like, holy cow. And that's like 4:30. So anybody that was hunting that day was out in that weather, getting out, going, either driving to the woods or getting out to their blinds or whatever it might be. But no thanks. I'm not that hungry for venison.
Wags, when the temperature gets like that, especially this weekend, you know who the happiest man in the state of Wisconsin is? I think you know who that is. Come on, Wags, you know. It's our buddy Dan. It's our buddy Dan Durbin.
Yes.
Why?
Yes, because he's going to have a busy one, isn't he?
He's in the midst of it this weekend, right? Yesterday was day
right
1. This is day 2 of the Ice Fishing Expo going on. Plenty of time for you to get up there and check that out. They moved. They were at the, what was it, Sunny Hill Farms?
Sunnyview.
Sunnyview?
Yeah.
Sunnyview.
Sunny Hill Farms.
It's close enough. If you say that and somebody starts typing that in the Oshkosh area, it's probably going to come up with the Expo Center.
That's a retirement center in Boca Raton. That's what that is. Not that any of us in the show are close to that, but, man, this weekend, if you're into that, this is your weekend, right? Get up there and check that bad boy out.
Yeah, and they're doing. I was just going to say, and don't forget, they're doing shuttles too. So they have larger parking this year. They've got, I think it's $5 for parking. Mm-hmm. All of the hours and everything are up on their website, and they've taken a lot into consideration this year after what they learned from last year, the massive demand that is for a show like this in the state of Wisconsin. So I'll be curious just to see kind of what everybody says and how the changes went. And they've got so many vendors and all those big giveaways and everything. Certainly worth the trip up to Oshkosh.
Well, we also talked to so many people that had made the trip to I think it's in Brainerd, where the Minnesota Ice Fishing Expo was. And they were there last weekend, and they're making the haul back over here to Danny's place. So, again, ice fishing for those fanatics, they're getting a double dose. Back-end weekends for festivals and activities and events. And some of the current speakers, I believe, were in Minnesota, are still coming over to, the Wisconsin Oshkosh area. So, again, multiple opportunities to just, love. If you love ice fishing, man, the last couple of weeks have been phenomenal for you if you're willing to travel.
Matchups between these two teams.
Okay.
So if they met in Green Bay, Packers win. If they meet in Seattle, it's the Seahawks. Every time I think of Seattle, I think of that damn NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And I have flashbacks of Julius Peppers telling him to get down when he shouldn't have gotten down.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how some of those memories just stick with you forever? And it's like anytime you hear anything related to it, that's what comes up right away. Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny you say that, because remember we talked about this before. The ones that you remember, you could play 10 games and you could win 9. And you could have great wins, 9 great wins. But the one that sticks with you the most is the one loss.
I was going to, you mentioned that, and I was thinking about, you remember losses more than you do wins, quite frankly. At least I do. Yeah. So, Wags, now go back to your baseball career. You were with the Pirates to begin. Were you, I'm trying to remember time-wise, were you on any of those playoff run teams? I'm trying to remember.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You weren't. So were you on the team when, was Sid Bream came around third, scored the winning run? You were on the team that time.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought you were. So I would think for you, that would, even though you were a pitcher, you're not a position player, you're still on that roster. Man, that had to be a special memory, right?
It was, but I was so young and so naive and didn't understand it. I'm like, I come back into the clubhouse, we win the National League East. This is a ways away or a long time ago, but we win the National League East. We're good. We're great. We're always going to be good. I'm like, I walk in there and the guys are crying. And I'm like, man, these are grown men that I've seen and are MVPs and are Cy Young winners, and they're crying. I'm like, what's going on? I go, guys, we'll get them next year. And I'm like, not realizing it because I'm young. And then I go into the off season, I'm preparing. And then I realize that there's this thing called free agency, and that millions of dollars take players away. And now all of a sudden I realize, hey, they saw the future where I looked at the future as just everlasting. Hey, we'll get them next year. Hey, let's just shake it off. And hey, don't think about yesterday. We think about tomorrow. And they're like, well, yesterday was yesterday and tomorrow ain't going to be here.
Well, it's funny because, and I think we've talked about this before, Eric, where you can flip this into hunting and fishing. I mean, you have great memories of when you bag that big buck, right? Or you land that big fish that you've been chasing. But oftentimes, at least for me, I'll remember the misses or the fishes that I was right there in the boat. I'm reaching down and it's gone. I'll remember that stuff more than I will the big catches or the big game or the big deer that you dropped.
Yeah, and I think that the big part of that, at least the way that I see it, is that when you have those misses, say the 3 years before I shot my nice buck, I hit bucks, which I thought were good shots, and I don't have that deer on the wall. So I think it sticks out more because it's more of a sore spot for you that you don't have those memories. I can't walk into the basement and see those 3 bucks that I hit and never recovered in the years previous to the one that I did actually shoot. Meanwhile, I can go downstairs and I can see, well, as my wife has named him, Chuck the Buck. I can see him whenever I want,
Chuck
and not that wasn't one of the all-time greatest memories that I have in anything in the outdoors, just sharing that with my dad and how overwhelming it was to finally get a really, really nice deer. But I learned a lot from those misses in the sense that I botched the first one. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it was bad luck. Maybe it jumped the string. Who knows what could have happened. When I missed the second and when I especially missed the third or didn't recover the third one, I told myself I was not going to let that happen again. I was going to shoot my bow all of the time, and I was going to be super confident, way beyond any shot that I would take in the woods. So it was very impactful for me, just purely for the perspective that I didn't want that to ever happen again. So I learned a lot from it.
Wags, I would think all your experience as a major league pitcher or just a pitcher in general, you learn mentally how to shut that stuff off, especially, and you were a starter. And so if you give up a first inning home run, man, you got to shake that off, right? You got to lock back in. I would think the same thing applies. Like Eric, once, twice, 3 times a lady charm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He had to look at me for confirmation as he was saying that.
We'll be doing karaoke on a separate hour of the podcast. Wags does a really good Lionel Richie, let me tell you. Sailing. Anyway, but I would think the same rules apply, don't they?
Yeah, and as I'm listening to him talk and Task talking, I'm like, I don't. I'm not one of those guys that save every single one of my cards. When a card comes across, I see a buck, I erase it. I don't save bucks from 2017, 18. I don't have a portfolio or a collection I don't have that. I let them go. When I erase and delete all my cards, I move forward. Again, I use that theory. I think about yesterday, no more. It's tomorrow. It's next year. It's the next time. Because in baseball, if you worry about the pitch that you threw and you're not thinking about the next pitch you throw, man, you're screwed. You will never, ever succeed if you can't let, whether it was positive or negative, whether it was a failure or an epic win, it doesn't matter. Because if you continue to think about that, you will never succeed. And that's the way I look at it in hunting too. I'll shoot. Hell, I shoot. You can ask anybody. I shoot a lot. I don't hit a lot, but I shoot a lot. I do. I shoot. I've been known to, I have big bucks, or I have bucks coming through, and I shoot trees.
That explains. This explains why. This explains why if you walk into any Cabela's and you walk back to the gun section, hey, Wags, how are you, buddy? Because he's always in there buying shells.
Buying ammo. Oh, that's good. That's actually really funny. But you know what?
Is here. Woo-hoo.
You miss all the shots you don't take. So
that's right. Yes.
You might as well send one. Yes. So
hey, I gotta fling it. You fling an arrow. You fling an arrow. You have no chance of getting him if you don't fling that arrow.
Somehow, I think when Michael Jordan said that, I don't think he was thinking about Paul Wagner at that time.
Nope.
Yeah, but it applies just as well.
Yeah,
just
go
as
with
well.
it. Go with it.
So, hey, Wags, when we were driving up this week, we had kind of talked about, and you were kind of going back and forth with one of your buddies or a couple of your buddies just about, like, should I be doing, like, doe harvest late season? And I don't know. It was kind of interesting. I feel like you were all on board for doing it late season, and then after a couple conversations and a couple articles that you read, you kind of, like, flipped back to early season. And I actually found an article from the National Deer Association just talking about, it's mostly focusing on Georgia, like, research that they've done. But I heard some really, really interesting things in this. So Georgia hunters can shoot 10 antlerless deer and 2 antlered bucks every year.
Oh, my goodness.
The reality, though, is that just over half, 57% of Georgia hunters are lucky enough to shoot at least one deer, whether that's a buck or a doe. And less than a third, 31%, shoot more than one. So any combination of buck or doe. Considering does only, it's even more surprising. 19% of Georgia hunters take just one doe. 8% take 2, 4% take 3, and a combined 5% take 4 or more. So that leaves 65% of the population basically not harvesting a deer. Which,
wow,
I don't know. It just seems like, I wonder what those numbers would correlate with in the state of Wisconsin. Which I guess I don't know. We could probably figure that out. I'm sure they've got those numbers.
Well, we'll put it this way. One mature buck that we took in was 177 pounds. Those Georgia bucks are so skinny, they probably get 10 of them. They're like 17 to golden retrievers.
So warmed out. So then here it does also say nationally, the numbers are even lower. 41% of hunters shoot a deer each year, and only 18% shoot more than one. So Georgia is actually an exception to the rule. They're much higher. So even though the vast majority of hunters head a field each year with multiple tags or harvest opportunities, less than half of them are successful, and less than a fifth will shoot more than one deer.
I wonder in Georgia if the hunting culture is the same as it is in Wisconsin. I wonder in Georgia if, the access is the same as it is in Wisconsin. I mean, we talked, for example, Wags, was it 2 weeks ago about Iowa and the huge, the scarcity when it comes to public hunting in the state of Iowa. I wonder how that applies to a state like Georgia. How much is public? How much is private? Because access, I would think, access and interest may play a big factor in this too.
100%, 100%, I believe. I would say just in general, talking to guys, like talking to the guys that play for the Braves, let's just throw a name out there and it's not him. Austin Riley's a big hunter. We see him on TV. Adam LaRoche, the baseball players that are big hunters. I'm going to say that they all, if you'd say Wisconsin has 10 diehard hunters, I'm going to say Georgia, the South has 3 diehard. I'm not saying that they don't love the sport. They don't want to be outside. They do love everything about it just as much as we do. They're enthusiastic and everything. I just don't think that number is as large as it is up here Maybe due to the fact that there's so many other things to do in warm weather, so many other things. I know a lot of people down in Georgia that I played with, they do a lot of fishing. So we got a lot of bass fishers. Guys love to fish. So they're hitting ponds, and they'll spend very little bit of time in the woods for deer. They'll sit for turkeys. They'll sit for fish, but they won't sit there. They'll ride four-wheelers. They'll mud it. They'll do a lot of things, but I just think that number. So up here, that'd be my evaluation. Whether it's public or private access, that's another element. But I just think the number of people is smaller, but same enthusiasm.
Do we know too, Eric? Do the seasons, meaning when Wisconsin has theirs and they have theirs, do they overlap? I mean, are the time frames the same? Because you guys lament the fact. Well, it seems like a million years ago now, but when you went into the woods when the bow season began, it was too hot.
Yeah.
Well, if it's hot here in September, can you imagine what it's like in Georgia?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Alabama. Oh, real quick. I think Alabama. When I was living with Steve Woodard, I think the Alabama rut is end of January, early February.
It's weird.
Where
it's much later.
Yeah.
So I do have a couple quick numbers for you. So we had 774,000 total hunting license sold. So that's gun, bow, crossbow, sports, and conservation patron license. The state of Georgia had 642,000.
Wow.
So that's actually a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
But I think, Wags, you made a really good point in there. Their climate is so different that if we had 60, 70, 80-degree days until the end of November, I know a ton of people that would be out fishing instead of bow hunting.
Well, and if their season, and you mentioned about Arkansas and Alabama, if they're in the rut in January, Wags, you're talking about 40s or 50s. I mean, for us, 40s and 50s, I mean, that's paradise when it comes to hunting,
We're still wearing shorts at that stage.
You must be from Wisconsin, right? You're the only one in the blind wearing short sleeves today.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It's different because if you don't have to take your boat in and if you don't have to go winterize your boat, I'm going to be on the water. I mean, I love sitting in the woods, but you also have family members and you're trying to get other people. If you got a family of 4, you're the one who wants to sit in the woods. The other 3 want to be on the boat. And if I don't have to winterize that boat and I still have access to open water and nice temperatures, that's a hard battle to fight the family.
Yeah. And that's just exactly it. So we had brought up some numbers just regarding the doe population that, like with mature does and actually, bucks and does, I guess, being impregnated. I was trying to figure out the bred. Okay, being bred. That's the best way to say that, I guess.
Right. Making deer whooping.
Yeah. So a couple other things that they had touched on in there. Legitimate concerns about, shooting does late in the season is that, some of the late season, you could have bucks that are already dropping antlers, so that you're accidentally harvesting a buck instead of a doe, or like a buck fawn where these button bucks, I mean, Wags, you and I were talking about that. You've got a handful of those running around, and just to, do a double take through the binos before you actually take a shot. But Here it says that you don't have to worry about which buck bred which doe. Research shows that about 25% of the time, multiple bucks are breeding the same doe. So that I thought was actually kind of surprising, just purely for the fact that it's such a short window, as we learned last week, that 24 to 36-hour window. And I guess I don't know why, but I just always assumed that as soon as a doe was bred, and that there was nothing else that happened there.
She likes to party.
She's partying. Oh, she's partying. He's partying and she's partying. So
24 hours, multiple bucks. She must hang out at the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah, right. And then they just kind of touched on, like I was just saying, doing a double check before you, with high quality optics, making sure that, you're actually taking a good look and making sure that you're confident in the shot that you're going to take beforehand.
I think that's really good you mentioned that, because there's going to be a whoops factor here, right?
Yeah.
And I guess my question to you guys, and maybe you know this, what is the legality of that? If it's only does right now, and a whoops happens, I mean, what do you do?
It's okay. It's okay if it's a nub. If it's a spike, it has to be. If it's a spike buck, it has to be, I believe, the
under
antlers
3 inches.
Under 3 inches.
Yeah.
Under 3 inches.
So that's enough for a variance that if it's got 3 inches and you're even close to that, you should know. I don't know. Some of these guys, Paul Wagner, are shooting their crossbows at 80 yards, but
I didn't shoot. I took compound bow this year.
I know.
I did my Matthews.
Was giving
my
you
Matthews.
A hard time.
It's called glasses. Get a pair.
Yeah. Yeah, but so there is a little bit of a grace period there, but or like I don't know, leeway there. And so obviously, you
remember
shouldn't
we were
be
talking
shooting
too.
them.
Yeah, and I think a lot of them, like you said, the factor, like you were saying, Tim, I think there's a lot more nubs small during gun season. I think gun season is where majority of your hunters, again, I'm not to categorize it, but brown is down. They make a drive, something comes out, boom, you shoot. You're not necessarily looking at size, what it is. Guys have a tendency to shoot more leniently with gun. But in bow season, like now, late bow. God
love her. She was trying to do this thing on, I think it was a Walgreens website, where you can take the pictures, then you can make a collage. And, where our grandson is a year, 20 months old now, I believe. So she was going to take some pictures of Riggins, and she was going to be really creative and put them in this picture frame. And she goes through the whole process on the website. Look at this. It looks great. Delivery December 26th.
Oh.
I'm like, wow. Oh. So then she had the idea. So what she ended up doing was doing a coffee mug because the coffee mug would come sooner. So she had that. If you are looking for a last-minute stocking stuffer idea, because you're into that window now, Bunsel's would be the place to go.
Yeah, and I just want to mention quick, we've talked about their Thanksgiving meals that they do, their Christmas meals that they do. You still have time to order. You can pick up Christmas dinners from December 21st to December 24th. They're closed on Christmas Day, but you can still order those by calling them or emailing them at orders@bunzels.com by December 20th. So you still have about a week.
So what would make up a traditional Christmas meal?
So from Bunzels, it would be sliced hickory smoked ham, au gratin potatoes, green beans, cranberry orange relish, dinner rolls, and a Christmas cookie platter. And you can do for 5 to 6 people, or you can do a larger group for 10 to 12. And then you can also do individual take and heat dinners from them as well for just $13 per person.
So, Wags, when you think of a traditional Christmas meal, what comes to your mind?
Again, back to that turkey and ham, but you've kind of altered my thinking now that you want to do prime rib.
See? Yep.
I would, or a big, nice beef tenderloin. We do beef tenderloin. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the prime rib, those got me. I just don't know how to prepare it, but my thinking has changed after 50 plus years. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see, this is a sports talk station, so did you see this week that Xavier Legette, the guy from the Panthers, the very, very rural country. I think he's a linebacker. Yeah. And he's like so viral for all of the times that he like talks because he's just so country, but he's so funny and so relatable. He recently did a podcast and they asked him like, what's a crazy thing that you eat? And he said, raccoon. That's his thing.
Oh, I saw that. They were talking about that.
Yeah.
And guess what? Because people in this building, because they know that I'm part of the show now.
Yeah.
They go, hey, Red Hot, I'm sure you've eaten raccoon, right?
Yeah, right. Right. Like it's a normal thing for everybody across the country to be eating.
Just because fellas that wear camouflage once in a while does not mean that I would eat raccoon. No.
Right. Yeah, and so they're like, well, what do you mean raccoon? He's like, yeah, I hunt them, I clean them, I cook them, and then I eat them. And they're like, when was the last time you had raccoon?
That's like Mother Nature's garbage disposal. The hell are you doing?
He had it for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving? That's what he had for Thanksgiving. That's what they had was raccoon. I'm like, holy cow. That's really taking your wild game feast to a different level.
I can't say that. No, I wouldn't even consider that.
Just get the ham dinner from Bunsel's.
Yes.
Don't worry about it. Oh. It's funny you were saying that about ordering stuff for the holidays.
Yeah.
You guys both have wives, and I mean, I'm sure you've encountered something like this. So last year, the kids put together their Christmas list, and they're ordering from all these crazy websites.
Right.
Well, it wasn't the first time that Sherry ordered from some of them. So what does she do? She uses my email address to get additional discounts for first-time users, for new customers. And then what do I have to deal with throughout the year? 2,000 emails from websites that I have no idea what they're even.
Oh, I got one to top that. I got one to top that. So my wife is a big Amazon fan, right? I would say the majority of our gifts at Christmas time come via Amazon.
Sure.
Well, she had the Prime membership. And I went and got a Prime membership because I wanted to get the NFL when they switched over, right? So she said, you know what? And this is like in July. Why do we have 2 Prime memberships? This makes no sense to have a Prime membership.
Yeah.
I'm like, we'll just cancel yours and we can have mine. I think hers WAGs might have been up at the time. So here's the downside of having one membership.
You see all the orders now.
I see everything to my email address.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know when they're arriving. And I said to her, I go, did you think about that? That I can see? She goes, don't look. Don't look.
Well, and that's the other thing.
I'm
You
like,
can't
well, wait a
order.
minute.
You can't order gifts then and have it be a surprise. Well, she can't order gifts for you and have it be a surprise.
Oh, she did.
So there's a workaround for that.
Well, here's the worst part about it. I used it to order gifts for her.
Yeah.
And she swears she didn't look. I don't believe her.
Yeah.
Because she's seeing when things are being delivered, too.
So Amazon actually has a really, brilliant function behind it that if you have a Prime membership, there's something called a family membership.
Right.
Where it's just your Prime membership, but Sherry has it, and now I am on her Amazon account, but it's all my personal information. So when I order something, she doesn't see it. It's just still my account. So you can actually share your membership with her, and then she'll have her own private, and then you'll have your own private.
Okay. That's
so
when
it's one account, but because it's within a household, you just have to invite the other person to be a part of it. So it's really nice, especially this time of year when I'm ordering archery stuff all of the time. And I'm just oh yeah, it's Christmas gifts. Don't worry about it. Don't look at that box. Don't look at that box. Don't worry about it. So it actually is super nice to be able to do that. So. We were going to talk about this, and Wags, we've got a few minutes left that we can kind of chat about this. I want to make sure that we at least bring it up. We were talking about how we were driving up. We were on the road. We spent a couple hours in the truck together, and you were, doing all of your housekeeping for tags and registrations and everything as we drove up to HHA Sports in Wisconsin Rapids. Chris Ham, the CEO and president, second-generation owner of the company, was just so gracious and welcoming to bring us up there. And he was kind of on me to get up there and actually get a tour of both of their facilities. And, man, I just have to say, and I pulled Chris aside at one point. I don't know if you were looking at something or if you were just, off. I don't know what you were doing, but I even said to him, I said, I'm just so appreciative of the opportunity to be able to come up here and see your place and to be able to talk about this on our show and to have you as a guest and for you to be a part of this, because we have a lot of really, really cool Wisconsin brands that are major players in the outdoors. Matthews, Vortex, HHA, a lot of there's a big conglomerate of companies that is up in Superior. So there's a lot of companies that we can highlight and that we can talk about, but actually getting to go and tour their facility was so cool because you don't really realize how many sites they sell in a year. And for them to have just a team of 30, 35 people that do all of the manufacturing, all of the assembly, all of the shipping right out of a small town in Wisconsin was so cool to be able to do that.
It was. It was incredible. And like you said, small, but long-time employees as well. The CC machines, obviously cutting and saving down some time, but a lot of hand touching, individual people touching. whether it's putting stickers on dials, whether it's funding burrs off of cuts. It was just amazing how nice it was, how clean it was, and like you said, how many smaller companies, big players in the outdoor industry are in Wisconsin. As he had told us how many meetings he had following up to this weekend and into next as the new year is coming, and there's going to be new drops, whether it's sights or bows or anything about new things to come, and plenty of it. And we will obviously, Chris said that we can talk about it come the first of the year. It will be exciting to see how many new things come out to the industry. And then to say that a small company in Wisconsin Rapids pushes out 25 to 28,000 pieces a year is just incredible.
That was kind of a mind-blowing number. I think we both kind of looked at one another and we were like, wow, everything from right here. And as we're looking at, 25 sites on each cookie baking sheet and the history behind that, and why they do the cookie baking sheet, and how his dad, so HHA stands for Harry Ham Archery, Chris's father, Harry, how he was working in their actual CNC operation as a teenager, one of his first jobs, and then to be able to go back there and take his production facility back to that shop that he worked in as a kid. Just so many cool kind of stories intertwined with them.
You know what's going to be next, right? There's always a spin-off of a TV show. So the Duck Commander guys built Duck Dynasty.
Yeah.
Bow Dynasty. See? Yeah. They can do that. They can build a TV show of that. But it's funny, and I try to make a bad joke, which is nothing new in this show. But I bring it up because the parallels between what the Robertsons did with Duck Commander is kind of the same. It sounds like what's going on there too.
Yeah. Yeah, and he, Chris has met a lot of big players. We talked about Adam LaRoche and the Duck Dynasty guys, and just, like the Chipper Jones, and just a lot of the big time players that we're all very familiar with, the professional athletes that, Wags played alongside with, a number of them. And there were so many, like, people, like, he would bring up, hey, do you know this guy? And he's like, oh yeah, I played with them when I was with the Mets, or, when I was down in Atlanta, I played with this guy, or I was around him, or it's just, there's so many different things that